Hey guys, and welcome back to another Dragon Ball Legends video. For this one, we are going to be talking about the pros and the cons, the good and the bad of the 5th year Dragon Ball Legends anniversary. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and be sure to join me down below in the comments and let me know for today's question, what are your honest opinions and thoughts of the anniversary now that it's over? So, to begin, I want to answer my own question. There is a lot that goes into it, but I think overall, taking into consideration everything, this anniversary, again, in my opinion, let me know yours, is the best one we've seen. First and foremost, I want to reference the sheer amount of characters. We got about 16 or 17 new characters, and also you can include Shallot in that group too, because they gave us Super Saiyan Blue Shallot as well. But if you want to extend out to the pre-anniversary celebration, that's when Shallot released about 2 weeks before the anniversary, because they didn't want him to release during the anniversary and completely break the game, right? The servers and stuff, which already were a problem during this anniversary. We'll talk about them as a con later. But Shallot, Super Saiyan Blue at the bare minimum, if you don't want to include all his other reworked forms for the sparking variant of Shallot. So again, huge benefit for the sheer amount of characters. For reference, let's just look back at the 4th year anniversary, and this is what we got, right? We got the part 1 banner, which was just 2 characters, a sparking and an LF, and then also I think had 2 EXs, which were the Urine and Kale, and then we had 3 free characters for the Tournament of Power. And then part 2, again, I believe Cooler was released in that banner, but I get him a little bit later because it's sort of by order received. But anyways, at least Cooler and Turles I think were on that banner. And again, 1 LF and 1 sparking with Tapion and Super Saiyan 3 Dragon Fist Goku. And then we also do get the free Vegeta, the release of the free Gogeta, which is pretty cool because he had been in the game since like forever. And then we get Ultra Vegito. So just basically doubled up on characters, and half of those characters were free characters. So you got to really go back then. And if you don't have characters, there's not a lot of content to supplement it, because at the bare minimum, at least half of what this game gives you as content is new characters, and there's going to be events that are tied into the new characters when you need them. So if you don't get the new character, that's a whole different thing, but you don't really have a ton of reason to play the game. And that's not just this Dragon Ball Legends game thing, that's actually pertains to a lot of gacha games overall. So on the surface, that in and of itself is a huge benefit, and one of the big reasons why I'm ranking this anniversary really highly. Also, the sheer amount of resources from CC to everything else is very, very high. And I think people, when we talk about the 4th year anniversary, I don't think people really know how well the 4th anniversary ended, right? It started terribly. The 4th anniversary, part 1, the first half of that anniversary was easily the worst anniversary we have ever seen. And so when you rank anniversaries, which I actually did in a video, if you guys want to check it out, when you rank anniversaries and you talk about what the good and bad of anniversaries is, and you reference 4, I think the first part put such a bad taste in people's mouths that they don't remember the second part of year 4 was really good, really resource intensive, a lot of CCs. They fixed a lot of the issues that they did, but again, part 1 was really bad because they had other things that they tried out, like, you know, locking your co-op / raid rewards behind having the new characters, and otherwise you probably aren't even going to get new items. Like, it was just really bad. And then they walked it all back for the second half of that anniversary. So anywho, that's not to really talk up the 4th one. If you want to hear my overall opinions on some of these anniversaries, again, I did do this video, you can check it out, the link will be down below. That's not just a plug to get you guys to watch it, but just so you can have another 40 minutes of content. But I also want to reference CC, and we will kind of reference that video. Shout out to Luigiani, he's been doing this for a really long time, for all the anniversaries in fact, on Dragon Ball Legends, where they go through and show you the absolute maximum amount of CC that you could get. Now this is only June, so keep in mind the anniversary starts in May, right? Starts in May. It doesn't, so that's not factored here. There may be some minor overlap, but that doesn't factor here. And we're already midway, basically in the last third of July. The anniversary just ended yesterday, technically. There's still some remaining events and thank you events for the anniversary. You can consider that stuff in the same way you can consider like the Shallot, like I mentioned earlier, as pre-anniversary content. But anyway, this is just June. Okay, the heart of the anniversary. 30,000 CC if you completed everything. You ranked highly in co-op or PvP, you did Tournament of Power, all that stuff. So let's kind of dive into this just a little bit so you guys know what this is. Because sometimes, when I say like, oh, there's a lot of CC, people are like, no, there isn't, blah, blah, blah. So basically, since June had 30,000 total, if you did everything, that means that this anniversary probably dropped over 50,000, because you got to consider basically there's another month, basically between the end of last of May and then also what's happened so far in July. About another 20,000. That may be generous, maybe not, but about 50,000. So that's a lot of CC, and the earlier anniversaries aren't touching that, by the way. Like, it's really not close. When you rank anniversaries, again, same caveats apply, like with the June and May and July stuff, for some of them, but like if the first anniversary, which I think gets touted as being really, really highly up, it was not the same. Here's just the CC record from my book, my video from Luigiani on Reddit. And the number for the anniversary was 21,000. Like, it's not even close, right? But I think the first anniversary obviously is something that people are always going to rank highly because of the reveal of Super Vegito, which I can't deny was amazing. I think we just got our second best reveal with the reveal of Ultra Vegito Blue, how they did the drone show and all that. So I think that would also, if we're going to count one reveal to prop up an anniversary, I think we have to do the same here. Nonetheless, I think it'll always be remembered highly also because of nostalgia and because it was the first one. And it did have a ton of hype. If you were playing back then, the build up to it was insane. People were extremely excited. So that was awesome to see back then too. And it didn't disappoint. I don't think this anniversary had anything in particular, the first anniversary, that was bad, right? But I do think that what we see for the highs of the 5th anniversary, it's just better, right? I think the 5th anniversary, here's the deal with the 5th anniversary before we get to some of the negatives. I think the 5th anniversary is like quite possibly the best celebration, period. Now, that's a bit of a different discussion, because I don't know if a lot of people know this, but typically Legends doesn't go all out for anniversary. Anniversary is obviously really generous, very resource intensive, and we'll talk about that CC that they're giving out in a little bit too. But anyway, they typically also go all out in the end of the year for New Year's and Christmas in Legends Festival, and that's when they drop their big characters. They basically have 2 anniversaries. By the way, a lot of games have 2 anniversaries. They have their 1.5 year anniversary, which is basically for Legends, you know, Legends Festival, so they don't really have that here, and so on and so forth. But Legends also is on one server, so they don't get 2 anniversaries like some other games do if they're on different servers. Anyway, well, one timeline, I guess. Anyway, moving on. So, yeah, I think that it's in the discussion for best celebration overall, because Legends Festival also has a few iterations, particularly the 2021 end of the year celebration leading into 2022, the one that dropped the tag Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Vegeta, not last year, again, the one with Super Saiyan Blues, is always regarded as being the best celebration. Do you guys think this one has usurped it? I didn't do any digging into that Legend celebration, so I can't really elaborate too much on that comparison. I only did my digging for the anniversaries. So let's talk about the CC a little bit, and then also the downsides. So I showed you guys all this stuff, but I mean, look at the stipulations on some of this stuff. You've got to be getting like above 20k PvP. You got to be playing co-op. You got to be doing all the exchanges. So this is only really happening to this degree for the most dedicated players. But one thing I'll say is I don't play a ton off camera. I probably will play an hour a day, just get on, do my dailies, do my raids, things like that. I probably play about an hour a day. I am not that player that works super hard at this game. I definitely don't work really hard at PvP anymore. I only play, this is also why I don't rank up too much in PvP, like beyond like 65 anymore, because I don't really, it just doesn't happen naturally. I only play when I'm recording PvP. So I'm not like grinding it, so I'm not getting these crazy milestones. So that being said, I felt like anytime I logged on, it was pretty easy to get chrono crystals. I could always get it. Like even now, I just had none. Literally, like a few days ago, I had none, and I've already got like 3,000. I have felt like throughout this anniversary, it was always really, really easy to get CC. So there's that. But also, since there's all these banners and stuff, some people may not feel like they got a lot of CC because there's a lot of banners. Unlike, again, last year, where it was basically just like 3 banners with nobody on them. The more characters does come with the drawback. People love when banners have 5 characters and stuff like that, but they do have a drawback. If you're going to try to build a team off that banner, you got to pull all of them. Let alone if you want to get high stars on them, it does have a drawback. There is a drawback. But I will, again, not take anything away from them, because that's probably the most dedicated they've been with character releases since like Legends Festival 2020. with UI Goku and Jiren's initial release 2020 Legends Festival, not 2021. They do not drop that many characters on one banner on that celebration, especially in the last 2 years. We had so many banners that were just one character and one character like the 4th anniversary. One huge complaint of the 4th anniversary was that it felt like regular banners. It didn't feel like anything special, right? By the way, speaking of banners, the reason why Legends Festival 2021 is also highly touted is because they had that 3 times. That was the first banner that did the 3 times drop rate and 3 times Z power. They don't do that. I don't think they did it again, but because they said they never would, by the way. But I think that they just did the doubles, which is what they kind of do for everything now, though, right? So anyway, let's move on. So here's Prof. He had a bit of a negative take. I do have some positive takes I want to show, but he had a negative take, which I can agree with. He said, Legends Anniversary is finally wrapping up, and I gotta say, this is my least favorite celebration to date. He doesn't just say anniversary, but celebration overall. We went from a somewhat diverse meta to Go Frieza and UVB in every single match. A quote-unquote celebration, and the devs' eyes seem to be destroying any sense of balance for profits. So here's the deal with that. I don't think that the meta was particularly diverse. I heavily feel like if you had any of these characters on the top row, except for VB because he didn't exist, and except for Broly, you were going to either win or you were going to see one of these characters in every match. Now, here's the subtext on that. This technically is like, this could be a handful of teams, but was it really? Not really, right? People were running a lot of these characters together. So you hit a situation where you were only seeing maybe 4 or 5 different versions of a team. So is that really diverse? I guess with Legends, it may be considered diverse because you run the chance of not seeing the same character in every match. Right now, to his point, you are going to see either Vegito Blue, Tag Goku and Frieza, or both in every single match. Again, every single match. You're lucky if you don't see either of them at all in a match, period. So I get that point. But also I want to kind of offer a counterpoint to that. That's kind of every anniversary, isn't it? Like, seriously. Every new character that comes out is used in every team for a period of time, and then they're not. I mean, that applies to all the good characters, just in general, if we're being honest. But I feel like that happens on every anniversary, right? But I also won't discredit the lack of balance, because I've also talked about ad nauseum this game's power creep. I feel like I talk about it more than a lot of people on the platform, but this game's power creep is genuinely insane. In my mind, we shouldn't have the chasm that we have, because this is my favorite character to bring up in this topic, between like Hero Tapion and Ultra VB. Do you know how fat that chasm is? That chasm shouldn't exist in just 1 year. Mind you, 1 year. Okay? Can you imagine how fat the chasm could potentially be between now and next year if that's what we're doing? Now, I will throw the caveat that this is an Ultra. He's supposed to feel way stronger. But okay, what about Tapion as a side character to other side characters like Kiawe or Jiren or even I think it's kind of linear with Magenta, to be honest. But yeah, it's still a fat chasm there because a year of space has passed. Okay, how about this? Let's compare last year part 1 to this year part 1. Go Frieza to MUI? Does that even a discussion? You see what I'm saying? Even before their buff, it wasn't a discussion. So like, the power creep in this game is insane, and I don't think it should exist to this degree. But I do think that, you know, balance is just kind of if you're playing this game for balance, you're playing the wrong game. The characters that are actually balanced, like this guy, since they don't overwhelm the opponent most of the time, they're considered bad by the community. So I asked this question in a video once upon a time: what does the community actually want? Do the community actually want balanced characters? Because we get those. We get those. This is the dev stance, by the way. Like, I've heard this from people. This is how they feel about it too. This isn't just me saying it, because it's very apparent. Do you want balanced characters that don't destroy the game and destroy balance? Do you not? Do you want those characters, or do you not? Because if we give you those characters, if they give us those characters, then like, are we going to complain about it? Are they going to be quote unquote mid? Is that a bad thing if they are quote unquote mid? So like that, I feel like that's a very controversial thing that people just don't, and you can't please everybody, which is the end goal, right? You can't please everybody. But nonetheless, I do agree with some of what he's saying, but I think some of that is just kind of just normal, right? I'm separating the celebration itself from the toxic PvP. Celebration was almost perfect with just minor, not that good things like the hoi poi. Oh, I didn't even mention the hoi poi. If we're talking only about PvP, then yes, this is by far the worst meta I've ever played, and I'm a day one player. See, okay, stuff like that's kind of hyperbolic. Stuff like that is hyperbolic. How, and if that's the opinion, that's fine. But like, how is it by far the worst meta ever? Because you have two oppressive characters. When we've had metas where there was only one oppressive character that dominated every damn thing. Like I don't know, 2-year Vegito Blue? You remember that guy? Like, I think that's maybe hyperbolic to say stuff like that. Like the worst meta, okay. Also, hoi poi might be the worst thing they did in this whole anniversary. I completed all the hoi poi missions and I still didn't get a single Z power drop. Seriously, LFC power. I didn't get a single drop. They took the steps off of hoi poi. That may be the single worst thing they did in this whole damn celebration. They had so many other good things for PvE-based content. They created events. They created those item packs. They created other things that are really, really good that just did not exist in other anniversaries. They were more generous, like I mentioned a bunch of times, with resources, all that stuff. But hoi poi got nerfed into the freaking oblivion. Hoi poi is garbage now without those steps. And if they did that during the 4th year anniversary part 1, they would have took it off for part 2. I feel like they messed with hoi poi back then too. They introduced hoi poi and was it year 4 or year 3? When it got introduced, after it was introduced, it was never the same. They always tweaked it because they kept bringing it back and had to make it worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And now we got this crap that it is now where it's garbage. So I don't even like put any stock in hoi poi anymore. It used to be a great little thing, and it's still good for just stock resources, I guess, but like, no. Anyway, it also is incredibly slow. I had to sit for like 20 minutes to just undo my hoi poi, and that was hitting things that were full, and I had to click and say, okay, yeah, whatever, ignore, send in my gift box, blah, blah. They need to overhaul that system bad. So hoi poi, huge negative. Let's read a few more comments here before we proceed to some of the positives that some of the other, pillars of the community were saying. It was diverse seeing Kid Buu, Rose, and Hit every match before they buffed Go Frieza, ? See, that's my damn point. It wasn't really diverse. I guess you could say it was more diverse because there was maybe another couple characters than there is now, but like it really wasn't a diverse meta. I think there was a period sometime earlier this year, I don't know when, it might have been before these characters at all released, where there was like a handful of teams that were all really good. And maybe that's actually as close as the anniversary, and I'm just misremembering, even with those characters. Maybe it was right before Kid Buu or something. But like, there was a period this year where there was a bunch of characters. And that's not uncommon either. There's always lulls where the teams all feel really good, and then all of a sudden that balance is broken. You can go all through Legends history. I'm not saying that Go Frieza or Balance, but they definitely needed a buff and should have went about it better, but saying the meta before was better isn't true. Go Frieza did not need a buff, by the way. I thought they were still top 10, and what they did was they overtuned them. If they were going to give them a buff, it should have been a minor buff. No, they went through that character and changed every damn thing in their kit and just made it all better. So they went from being like top 6 or so to top 1. Like, that's a huge overtune in my opinion, but I'm not really mad about it anymore. It is what it is. But still, crazy overtuning, I think. And yeah, they made them a lot better. I'll stand on that. I don't think they needed a buff. I think they were squishy as all hell, but they added a bunch of stuff that's just nonsense to their kits, and that's where I'll leave it. But I will say, like I said in a previous video, that wasn't a community response. That was already planned, guys. They were already going to buff Go Frieza because internally, Go Frieza was not hitting where they wanted it to be. I think people think that happened because the community complained, and I understand why you would think that, but no, they didn't turn around and fix that character in like a week. It was already planned. That's just not how things work in terms of Legends. It may work like that with other games, but read between the lines. Okay. NDAs, guys. All right. Obligatory hybrid main reply. Blah blah. Your opinion doesn't count. Okay. Gohan, come save us. He's talking about the potential for a Gohan release for a potential Cell Saga campaign. It's been like that for a long time, to be honest. But I agree with what you're saying. The celebration was amazing for casual players, not so much for the veterans. You remember how I mentioned earlier that I always felt like even you didn't have to like hard grind this game to get these CC. That's kind of casual, right? Because I'm kind of a casual player these days. I'll do content, but I'm still, you know, largely casual. I've got kids. I don't really have a lot of time to dive into this game anymore. Also, I think that it was just really good for PvE players only that don't touch PvP content. Far better than the Beast meta because I'm seeing more than one damn team over and over. Movies. Yeah, the Beast meta was crazy bad because they also doubled down on it for New Year and dropped freaking Gogeta Blue. Yeah, they doubled down on Beast meta. They almost always wrap up Annie or Legends Festival with a busted unit for their time and leave the meta in a worse state. Revive Gohan with Father Son Kamehameha LF Gohan. Yeah, year 3's Gohan was insane. Ultra Super Gogeta with Bardock. Yeah, for the end of that Legends Festival 2022? No, 2021. 2021 Legends Festival transitioning to 2022. January 2022. Yeah, so basically he's just saying that they always do this. So yeah, that's true. Super Vegito competed with the LF droids, but was in top 1 to 2. Yeah, the droids were still right there. Actually, the droids felt like they kind of hard countered him, to be honest. But anyway, it's always been the case in a gacha, so power creep is constant. IDK, what you're expecting. Yeah. We got Super Saiyan Blue Shallot, so who cares? I think that's a really big plus for this anniversary, despite the negatives like Hoi Poi. Also, I want to drop the negative of the servers. I didn't have this problem, but I saw a ton of people complaining about this anniversary servers. We're going to read in just Lagfest City, right? We're going to read a few more replies that were positive that popped up and kind of go from there. Shout out to Abu because he reminded me to do this video when I saw this tweet. I'm not going to open it, but yeah, there's a bunch of replies in there from people that had opinions, positive or not. Some people were saying that the anniversary was good, but needed a free Ultra. We have not had a free Ultra since Omega Shenron. And Goresh basically says, are they really going to put their time into that type deal? If I remember correctly, reading that reply. And if that is the case, I do largely agree. Are they really trying to put resources into this team? I don't know. I don't think so. Or into this team, into this version of the game. I don't think we'll never get another one again, right? I don't think we'll never get another one again, but they made a huge deal about how much work they have to put into these characters, blah, 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 how they take a few months, which, I mean, they either started working on Ultras a couple years in advance, which is pretty insane, actually, when you look at the animations and stuff and how they've changed in a couple of years. They either did that or they're lying through their teeth, or they've got people working insane double time to put Ultras out every month. Like, all these things can't be true. Like, they had a crazy backlog before they even started dropping summonable Ultras. Like, they had a crazy backlog. So, like, I don't really know what to believe. But anywho, do I think they're done? No. Do I think they'll do them again? Yes. Could and should they have dropped one during the anniversary? Probably. But I think that the resources for a free Ultra probably got dug into Shallot. Super Saiyan Blue Shallot, all those sparking versions of Shallot, etc. I think that that's where the time went. And I'm not really mad at that because I think that's better off anyway. So I'm cool with that. But yeah, we haven't had one since this, and this is like 2021, right? Like, it's been a while. Okay, I would honestly be surprised if they ever had plans to make it. Oh, Goresh said that he would be surprised if they even ever make another one. I don't think they'll never make another one. But I also want to say, when they were dropping these free Ultras in the videos and stuff, like with Goku and Vegeta, they were always saying, oh, this is a free one, but they won't always be free. Or, oh, we're making a free one now, but eventually we're going to make free one or summonable ones. Oh, Omega Shenron, this is our last free Ultra for a while. I don't think he definitively said we'll never do another one. But yeah, they were always dropping those caveats because their end goal was never to have them as free, which obviously makes sense. But they basically dropped them as free first to lighten the load, let the players feel special for a while, things like that. It was a PR move to drop a few free Ultras that they clearly half-assed because the animations on them, especially not the other ones, I'm not really mad at them. Omega Shenron might have the worst Ultra animations in the entire game. So they clearly have asked him at least. So yeah, there was a lot of caveats and stipulations. Yaro, my guy here, was saying, yeah, you're telling me this is a phone game, showing off the hype for VB. A lot of this was also in the midst of when VB got revealed. So yeah, Anniversary won't ever be matched seeing these characters released. This is, by the way, all the stuff people asked for. Most of the stuff people asked for this anniversary is what we got. Long live the 5th anniversary. I don't know how Legends will ever top the 5th anniversary from Nano and Goresh. So like, these are things, some of those were instant reactions, which obviously maybe the opinion changed in a week or two, but those are things that basically people were saying about this anniversary. So to conclude, I'll leave it to you. What do you guys think? How good was this anniversary? Was this the best, worst, in the middle anniversary? Let me know. To elaborate a little bit on my own point earlier, I talked about how, let's switch back to my tablet, they dropped a ton of stuff here, and I am very thankful of that. And all the resources, the item packs, all of it was awesome. I love it all. I'm not mad at any of it. Also, like, a huge complaint about last year was it just felt like it dragged. I think this anniversary was like the same length that I never felt like it dragged. So I always felt like something special was going on with this anniversary. But I think that if you go through each one, whether it's 1st or 5th, there's always something new they introduced, for better or worse, something new that they tried, like Hoi Poi or the summons with Shenron or things like that. They've always tried to instate something new, whether that was dual LFs on banners or more than one banner. You know, they always had the dual banners back to the 1st anniversary, but I don't think 1st anniversary had a part 2. Like, things like they've always tried stuff, for better or worse. And I think that the 5th anniversary was a culmination, as every latest anniversary should be, of all of those things. And I think they hit most of the beats correct. I think they had some issues with Super Saiyan Blue Shallot breaking the game. The game has never been perfect since. A lot of people are still having lag issues. The Shallot thing was particularly bad because people were basically unable to play the game for like a few days at least. I was hearing about it. I went on my trip, but that's where I heard about it. And then other things like that. But for the most part, I think that they handled this one really well. And I want to know what you guys think. If you guys enjoyed this, be sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Plan with putting that at the end a little bit for the true diehard people that watch all the content. If this was long and you enjoyed it, please let me know. I appreciate it. Also, if you want to see more on my discussions about the anniversaries, you can watch right now on your screen the anniversary ranking video I mentioned earlier.